In this video, I'm going to walk you through 7 things you can do to make your brand more visible to AI. And these aren't theoretical. They're the same steps I've walked clients through, and the brands that show up consistently in AI recommendations are already doing most of them. The best part is that these are things you can do right now, not next quarter, not as some part of a massive marketing refresh, this week. I'm Matt Kenyon. I help brands grow through search and AI visibility. Let's get into it. Step 1 is to build presence on the right review sites. So I want you to stop thinking of your reviews as being for just customers. I mean, they are at least that, but in the AI age, they're also valuable data for large language models. A lot of the time, AI assistants don't cite your website directly. They cite what other people say about you. Review sites, forum discussions, news articles, comparison roundups. Review platforms are a huge part of AI visibility. G2, Capterra, Trustpilot, the Better Business Bureau. These are structured, regularly updated sources of real opinions about real products. When someone asks ChatGPT, what's the best project management tool for small teams, it's not just reading your landing page. It's synthesizing what hundreds of reviewers said about you across these platforms. So the question isn't, do we have reviews? It's, do we have reviews on the platforms that AI is actually reading, and do they say what we want them to say? Here's what to do this week. First, audit which review platforms matter for your industry. B2B SaaS, G2 and Capterra are non-negotiable. E-commerce, focus on Trustpilot and Amazon reviews. Local services, Google Business Profile and Yelp are the main ones to check. But those are just the obvious ones. Every industry has niche review platforms that carry outsized weight. In manufacturing, Thomas Net supplier reviews matter more than Capterra. In hospitality, TripAdvisor dwarfs everything else. In healthcare, Healthgrades and WebMD doctor reviews are what patients and AI actually reference. So how do you find yours? Well, you can ask ChatGPT or Perplexity, what's the best your product category for your audience? Look at which sources show up in the response. Those are the review platforms that matter for your brand right now. Second, and this is a serious pro tip, give your users good review prompts. Here's what I mean. Instead of saying, please leave us a review, say something like, we'd love to hear how our onboarding process compared to what you expected. Give reviewers a thread to pull on. Reviews mentioning specific features are far more useful to an LLM than great product, 5 stars. The brands that show up in AI recommendations tend to have deep, detailed reviews on multiple platforms. Thin review profiles, even with high star ratings, don't give the AI assistants a lot of signal to work with. Step 2, participate in community discussions. Reddit threads, Quora answers, Stack Overflow discussions, niche forums. LLMs love this stuff. It's real people having real conversations about real problems, and your brand should be a part of those conversations. I don't mean dropping links to your product page. I mean, that'll get you banned from most subreddits anyway. I mean actually being helpful. When someone asks what's the best way to handle product data across 50 retail channels, and your PIM software handles exactly that, show up and explain how you'd approach the problem. Mention your product naturally if it's relevant, but lead with the answer, not the pitch. Here's an example of what not to do. In 2025, a marketing firm called Trap Plan seeded about 100 fake posts across gaming subreddits to promote a game called War Robots Frontiers. They had people saying things like, I found this cool game, and discovery style posts and GIF clips and discussion prompts. They really thought this out. They were all designed to look like real players who just happened to stumble on this game, and Trap Plan published a case study bragging about how well it worked. Dang, they almost got away with it too. Of course, Reddit found the case study, the post got traced, and the community response, as you might imagine, was brutal. Now, that's a gaming example, but the pattern is the same in every industry, and you don't need to be openly bragging about it to get found out. Reddit is full of sleuths, and if you're posting fake or misleading content, they will find out and your trust will be wrecked. And that negative interaction doesn't disappear. It becomes part of the corpus AI reads about your brand for years. Now here's an example of a brand doing this well. Tailscale is a mesh VPN service that lets you connect devices into a private network. In May 2025, a user on Reddit discovered a real security vulnerability in Tailscale. Random people could join their network through shared email domains. The post blew up, nearly 800 upvotes, 241 comments. Instead of going silent or posting a corporate non-answer, Tailscale co-founder Brad Fitzpatrick jumped in personally. His response started with, "Tailscaler here. Yeah, this sucks." Then he explained the full root cause. A legacy identity model that assumed shared email domains meant the same company. He was transparent about how the design decision made sense years ago and fell apart over time, and he committed to a fix right there in the thread, turning on user approvals for all new networks by default. His comment alone got 61 replies. The community went from alarmed to supportive. Tailscale likely earned more trust from that one thread than many brands build in a year of marketing. That's the kind of community presence that builds trust with both humans and AI systems. So, this week, do 3 things. Find 5 to 10 Reddit threads or forum posts where people are asking questions your product solves. You can do this in a matter of seconds by going to Google and searching your keyword with the modifier cite:/reddit.com. Then your only goal should be to add value. Even if you only spend 10 minutes a day trolling through subreddits and answering questions wherever you can, that goodwill, what Reddit literally calls karma, will build trust with the community and make folks that much more likely to engage with you if and when you mention your brand. And if people are already talking about your brand, whether positively or negatively, humbly respond and be honest about limitations. That kind of transparency and candor, as we've seen with Tailscale, goes a really long way. Step 3. Engineer user-generated content and social proof. Now, user-generated content isn't just a marketing tactic anymore. It's a citation source. When real users post about your product, case studies, before and after results, workflow screenshots, video reviews, that content gets indexed, linked to, and eventually absorbed by AI systems as evidence that your brand delivers what it promises. Did you know that ChatGPT will often cite LinkedIn posts as sources? Now you do. The brands doing this best aren't leaving it to chance. They're building systems that make it easy and rewarding for users to create content on their behalf. Look at what Notion did. They built a template marketplace where anyone can create and share Notion templates. Template creators get visibility, users get free resources, and Notion gets an army of people generating content about their product without paying a dime in content creation costs. Now you might be thinking, okay, cool, great for Notion, but my product isn't something that's conducive for a template marketplace. That's fair. Here's how to apply the same principle at any scale. First, start by finding people already talking about you. Go to LinkedIn and search your brand by name. Filter by posts and see who's already mentioning you organically, even if it's just a passing reference in a workflow post. Those people are your warmest leads for creating deeper user-generated content. On X, search your brand by name and sort by latest. On Reddit, you can search your product name across relevant subreddits, and you'll be surprised how many people are already saying things about you that you never see. When you find them, engage. Comment on their post, send a DM thanking them, ask if they'd be open to doing a short case study or writing up their experience. Those are people who already like your product enough to mention it publicly, so they're probably willing to do it again. Another high leverage move, reach out to micro influencers in your space. On LinkedIn, search for people posting about your product category, not your product specifically, but the problem you solve. You can filter by creator mode profiles with 1,000 to 10,000 followers. These people have engaged audiences and they're likely already creating content in your space. A home cook, for example, with 2,000 followers posting, "I've used this pan every single day for 8 months, here's how it holds up," will likely carry more weight with AI than a sponsored post from someone with 1 million followers, because it's specific, it's real, and it's independently published. And finally, feature and amplify what people create. When someone posts about your product, don't just like it. Reshare it, comment on it, feature it in your newsletter. Notion highlights top template creators. Figma features community contributors in their blog. Canva runs a weekly Canva design challenge and showcases the best submissions and email campaigns. Recognition is the incentive. When people see that sharing their experience with your product gets them visibility, they keep doing it. Step 4, secure best of list inclusions. So best of lists and comparison articles are like LLM catnip. When someone asks an AI what's the best email marketing platform, the model is heavily influenced by roundup articles that compare tools head to head. If your product isn't on those lists, you could be invisible for an entire category of queries. Now, to be clear, we're talking here about lists on third-party sites, not best of lists that you're writing for promotion on your own site. Look at how many of these exist for just one category. The Digital Project Manager has their top 10. Zapier has a best free project management tools roundup. Paymo has a list of 20 plus. When AI sees the same brand showing up across multiple independent sources, that's a strong consensus signal. If you're on 4 out of 5 of these and your competitor is on 0, guess who's probably going to get recommended? So this week, search your category Best Tools 2026 and find every major roundup you're missing from. Reach out to these publishers. Most accept submissions or have a review process. Some may require payment, but many just need a pitch explaining what makes your product worth including. And don't just target the obvious generic roundups. Industry-specific publications often carry more weight with AI. One more thing on this. Don't just think about best of lists for your main product category. Think about adjacent categories too. If you're a project management tool with strong time tracking features, you should be on best time tracking tools lists as well. Every list inclusion is another signal to AI that your brand is relevant for that specific problem. Step 5, maintain Wikipedia and knowledge graph accuracy. Wikipedia is a standard source in AI training datasets, and it's one of the most frequently cited domains in AI-generated responses. So, if your Wikipedia page has inaccurate information, that often gets repeated as fact. I'm talking about outdated founding dates, wrong product descriptions, old executive names. These errors compound across every system that references it. The reason you should fix this ASAP is because AI models are trained on snapshots of the web. If your Wikipedia page has wrong information 6 months ago, the model may still be working from that version even if you've since corrected it. And while there may not be a whole lot you can do about it now unless the AI assistant triggers a web search for real-time data, you can fix it in time for the next LLM retraining period. The same goes for Google's knowledge panel, that info box that appears on the right side when you search a brand name. If someone searches your brand and sees outdated or wrong information in that panel, AI systems are likely working from the same data. The fix is simple. Audit both and update what you can directly. For Wikipedia, follow their editorial guidelines. Don't self-promote, just correct factual errors and add properly cited information. For Google's knowledge panel, claim it and submit corrections through Google Business Profile. This takes an afternoon, but the impact is far-reaching. Now, the next 2 steps might sound like they're only for B2B SaaS companies, but the principles behind both apply to any business. Step 6 is publish transparent pricing. Now, this is the one that makes B2B SaaS companies and legacy enterprise brands a little bit uncomfortable, but it matters now more than ever. Take Workday, massive enterprise HR platform. You can browse their entire website and you won't find a single price. Everything routes to contact sales. So when someone asks AI about Workday costs, AI pulls from Reddit and third-party articles that estimate the cost. And those numbers range wildly, and that's not a good look. Now look at Gusto, or is it Gusto? Same industry, HR and payroll. Their pricing page is simple, transparent, and AI readable. When AI gets asked how much does Gusto cost, it has a definitive answer. Transparent pricing pages do two things for AI visibility. First, they give LLMs a definitive answer to one of the most common questions people ask about any product. Second, they signal trustworthiness. You're not hiding behind a sales wall. I mean, I'm editorializing a bit here, but in 2026, this whole timeshare model of forcing someone to talk to a salesperson or sit through a demo to get pricing, I mean, it's just not a good look anymore, guys. You don't have to publish every custom enterprise tier, but at least something like starting at X dollars per month with a clear breakdown of what each tier includes is far better than nothing. It gives AI something concrete to reference when someone asks about your pricing category. And if you're in B2C, the same principle applies. Your product pages should list every detail a buyer would ask about. Transparency isn't just a pricing play, it's an information play. Here's what to do this week. Audit your pricing page. If you don't have one, you probably need to publish one. Even a simple starting at X dollars a month with tier breakdowns is better than contact sales. If you're B2C, pull up your top 5 product pages and check. Would a stranger know exactly what they're getting without clicking learn more? If any key details, price, materials, sizing, compatibility are buried or missing, surface them. Step 7 is to expand documentation and FAQs. Documentation is the secret weapon of AI visibility, and not enough people are talking about it. And I say secret because almost nobody thinks of docs as a visibility play. But technical docs, help centers, FAQs, knowledge bases, these are exactly the kind of structured, factual, regularly updated content that LLMs prioritize. Why? Because documentation answers specific questions with specific answers. How do I get set up with single sign-on with your product? That should have a definitive answer in your docs. That's the kind of content AI systems love to cite. Completely unambiguous, authoritative, and directly useful. So Stripe is the gold standard here. Take a look at this. We got human-readable explanations on the left, copy-paste code on the right. Every section is concise and answers one specific question. When someone asks an AI, how do I process a payment with Stripe? This is the page that gets cited because it gives AI exactly what it needs, a definitive, structured answer. Now, you don't need to be Stripe. The principle applies to every business. Structured content that answers specific questions gets cited. Here's what to expand this week. Look at your support tickets from the past 90 days. What questions come up over and over? Turn those into public FAQ entries with detailed answers, and don't just answer the surface question. Explain the context, the common mistakes, and the edge cases. And this applies to B2C just as much as B2B. If you sell physical products, your FAQ should cover sizing, returns, shipping times, material sourcing, the questions your support team answers 10 times a day. An outdoor gear company with a detailed FAQ on waterproofing ratings, temperature ranges, and warranty claims gives AI exactly the kind of structured answers it can cite in its responses. And one more thing, if your docs or knowledge base are behind a login wall, AI obviously can't read them. All that detailed, helpful content becomes invisible. Make it public. Why not? There's no competitive advantage in hiding your documentation, but there is a competitive advantage in having documentation so good that AI cites it as the authoritative answer. So let me pull this all together because there's a pattern across all 7 of these steps, and if you see the pattern, the whole strategy clicks. AI systems are trying to answer a simple question. Can I trust this brand enough to recommend it? Every step we covered today is a different way of answering yes. Reviews on the right platforms, that's hundreds of real users saying they trust you. Community discussions, that's you showing up where the hard questions get asked. User-generated content, that's independent verification. Best of lists, that's editorial trust. Wikipedia, institutional trust. Pricing, transparency trust. Documentation, technical trust. See how it all comes together? And you don't need a whole team to get this done. These are all things you can get cracking on right after this video ends. Speaking of this video, if it was helpful, we'd really appreciate a like and subscribe to the Backlinko channel for more content just like this. If you want to keep learning, you can watch this video next. Thanks for watching and happy ranking.